Greetings, everybody. We're going to look at 3 ways to level up your swordplay coming out of our intensive summer here at a swordplay retreat we have every summer. Going to really see what we're learning from that and how to improve our skills. We found that there's these 3 main sticking points, you might say. The first is that when we're deflecting, we're not actually deflecting. What's going on is if he gives me a cut, is we're getting more of a turn and a push off to the side, often engaging with the edge the way we don't want to. But even when it's the flat, it tends to be more of a push this direction instead of a proper deflection here. Now, it might be a little bit hard to see this on camera, but if you look at this right now, you see I have deflected so that I can go straight in here and I have my whole big target picture. When I don't deflect that properly, when I just push it a little bit, see, that's more of a quarter turn of my waist. Instead of give me one more there, I give it a little bit more of a turn at the very end, and then I'm leading him off into nothing here, leading him into this void essentially, just dropping him in a hole here. When I do that properly, as I should, I'm unimpeded. I can come straight back in. However, when we do that quarter turn and I'm here, well, yeah, there's that. But also, even if I'm quick enough to come back in, I'm still in front of his weight. Let's look at a little bit of an angle here. So if he's coming at me, if I do it incorrectly, see, I'm here. Now you see where we are right now. I'm on line. I'm properly lined up with my tip, but his sword, my Duifang sword, is still in front of me. And so I really can't get in here. I can't try to go low because he'd just intercept me there. Boom, or come right in. And so my only place I can come back is really toward his left shoulder, which is not a very good target. And as you can see, quite easy for my Duifang to deflect. However, if we do that again, and I go here, come right to my center, give me a good one. Boom, right to my center there. See, now I've led him into nothing. And there's that moment, if I didn't pause here, that moment where he's going to be falling into it a little bit, just a little, but that means right then I can come in there, right? And it's quite different, isn't it? The feeling is very different. If we do that with a little bit of speed, I'll do it with a P cut this time, and I'll do it incorrectly and then correctly. And you go ahead and you respond naturally. So if he comes at me and well, that would be incorrect. You want to deflect the other way, right? You want to go out. So if I come in there, pretty easy for him to get that, right? So this is incorrect. What I'm doing is I'm just pushing him a little bit, more pushing him to the side rather than leading him into nothing. So if I do that again, see, and you see I'm kind of stuck having to come here, right? If I do things correctly, feel different, right? And you can see how I was a beat ahead. Let's look at that on the side view here, profile view. So incorrectly, if I push him, see I'm pushing to the side. Where's my intent? It's over there. My Duifang is here. So if I do that incorrectly and I go there, he has no problem. You know, there's a bit of a skill difference between Johnny and I, but still he has no problem to neutralize that. If I get him completely neutralized, you can see how he's in, and if you could see, seen the look on his face just then that I saw, it was like, whoops, right, a bit of trouble. So we want to lead him completely into nothing. But just look at that one more time from another angle here. If he's coming at me, if I go, let's get close enough, really give me a good one. If I'm there, see, he's offline, right? And I can come in, completely come in, no problem. I got a straight line. And my sight picture is really big. Whereas if I just do a quarter turn on my waist and I'm more pushing him to the side, even if I engage properly with the flat of my blade and I'm there, let's pause that for a second. You see here, I think from this angle, you can see really clearly, this is why I often end up clashing blades. Whereas if I move correctly and I go here, see now it's open. His blade is to the side and I can even get straight in here, all right? So the first tip really is to do a nice complete deflection, leading him completely. We're not parrying, we're not edge on edge clashing. Nice complete deflection. You need that last little 3 inches there, turn of your hip, let the Duifang just fall into that emptiness. So that's our first tip. Second tip is to make sure you just go to your Jie Jing point. When we talk about this often, Jie means, of course, to catch or catching Jing, literally. If my Duifang is coming at me, I'll do a peek at this time. If I go this way, see, right here is my Jie Jing point, right? I've led him into nothing. And from here, that's where I want to come right back. So we're spinning around that little spot there, right? I want to look at a little bit on the angle here. If you go there, Johnny. Okay, so if he comes in, I want to go there, just to my Jie Jing point. turning, deflecting. See how he's led into nothing? Boom, I can come right in. My target's right there for me, all right? So if I do that, let's go profile again, exactly to my Jie Jing point, then my Duifang sword becomes my sword. And meaning that, let's do a nice slow one, by coming there, so you're right here, right at this point, it's almost like there's a rivet there, and I'm gonna zoop right at that point in. Right there, I've got my Duifang's control. For a split second, I have control, I have everything. He's been led into nothing, and I have all these targets. I can even sometimes sneak that boom down to the leg. So I wanna go just to my Jie Jing point, and we've been working on really refining that and getting everybody just spot on. If I go a little further though, the reason this is a tip is because we weren't always doing that. I was seeing a lot of come here and then sort of just kind of sliding down this sword. So I'm sliding this way and then, thank you. My Duifang sword, my sword becomes a Duifang sword. So I'm right on, I'm spot on, boom. See, he's telling me where he is. I've opened him up, right? He's coming, I've caught him, I've led him into nothing. My tip is right on line, right? Receiving is releasing, my tip is right on line with his nose. I can pick whatever target is not only most convenient, but most efficacious for me. And his sword, by that proper deflection, let's look at it. Actually, let's look at it on this other angle here. In this way, my Duifang sword has become my sword. So as he comes in, and I boom, that gives me that moment of opportunity where it's all mine. If I slide, instead of sticking on that, not really sticking, rotating around that point, that Jie Jing point, that catching point, I slide on his sword, my sword's become his sword. Because, yeah, I just opened myself up for him, right? Let's look at that one more time from I slide incorrectly. So you can see how if I slide on my Jie Jing point or I expand it, I don't pivot right around that. So it's deflect strike. Should always be one movement, danxing, deflect strike. So it's not deflect strike, then my sword has become my Duifang sword. So as he comes at me and I go there, you can see how, and that wasn't even that big of one. It's pretty big on camera. Let's go a little bit closer, but you can really see that. So if we go there, he comes in. If I go here, you see, boom, he has got no opportunity. Or very, very small one. He can neutralize in some ways, but for a moment, I'm gonna, but as soon as I do that, even just 3 or 4 inches, I'm opening the door for my Duifang. So then, in that case, my Duifang sword becomes my sword. So that's our second tip. Make sure you deflect exactly to that point, your Jie Jing point, and come right back, danxing, deflect strike. It's one movement, not two intentions. Third point is target. Now, I think when everybody starts off and I'm seeing the guys and it's flowing nicely, they're deflect, cut, deflect, cut, deflect, cut. It's not that kind of tick-tock of defend, attack, but it's got nice flow and they're moving beautifully and it's being continuous. Okay, that's good. I'm happy to see that. That's a genuine step forward. But it's often just swinging with momentum, right? And so almost always, if it's deflection into a P-cut, everybody's favorite, it just tends to go to that shoulder. And so, you know, he knows where it's going to come. He's ready to deflect it. And, you know, we go back and forth. So what I really want to do, though, is aim my cut, not just swing it back. Again, keeping it smooth and continuous, achieving that danxing, that it's deflect, strike, deflect, strike, deflect, strike, instead of parry, riposte, and it's very different. Circle, square, circle, square, circle, square, as a continuous movement. Like if we just think of that idea we first started off, complete, like deflect, it comes right back, right? It's one smooth movement. There's things he can do. It doesn't mean I'm going to land, but it's one smooth, continuous movement. That's why we're not pushing. That's why we don't want to be pushing to the side. If I'm pushing to the side, see, that's a very kind of very staccato kind of movement. That's more of a push, parry, push it to the side, and then come in. And I have to you know, my momentum is this way, then that way. If you're using good, solid, real weight swords, historically accurate swords, you see that's difficult, right? So if we get it going so that it's deflect, strike, that's a good first step. There was no pause there. There wasn't that dualistic kind of movement where you're defending and attacking. So that's good. But I want to target, right? I want to shape the battlefield. So as my Duifang comes at me, I want to, come on, give me something good. I want to go right back in a way that is most difficult for my Duifang to neutralize. Not always necessarily the easiest for me, but the most difficult for him to neutralize, specifically forcing my Duifang to have to make a bigger movement. That's one of the things I want. So there, for example, when he came in, I deflected and I went right into his shoulder, right? Because that's going to force him to make a bigger movement. To deflect that, he's going to bring his blade over and around and get there. If I went, come on in again, same cut, boom, I go there. See, not even it's a small movement, dunk of the waist. It's not here, right? That's our first tip. It's here. He's got nothing. And if I go to his center, that's very easy for him to neutralize. So it's not wrong to go to the center. Sometimes if he's faltering, if he's pausing and I'm just quicker, boom, okay, go for the lethal target. Go for the center, go for the throat, go for the face, if they got a mask on, right? But if he's ready, I go there, see now if you saw that, I went to his shoulder, he forced it. Instead of going a little turn, he went all the way across, and that's really good for me. If we do that again, if we play along and do that again, he does that. No, if you do it incorrectly. So he goes there, boom, and I pushes it there. That gives me the opportunity to go there because I feel that, he's trying to force it way over there. So I shape the battlefield that way. And that's the one thing. So thinking about starting as you get that flow and it's deflect strike, okay, that's good. You've achieved that. Now start thinking about, well, where should I aim those cuts? Very commonly, I want to go to that Duifang sword arm elbow because if he comes at me and I go here and I go there, see, that's forcing him, that's controlling him, shaping the battlefield so that it's more, what's most important is it's very difficult for him to answer me, right? If I go here and I go there, big cut. That's easy for him to answer, right? Let's look at it from the angle here. So sometimes that's good. It's not wrong to go there, right? If he comes at me and I go big, nothing wrong about that, but it was easy for him to neutralize. I don't want it to be easy for my Duifang. I want it to be difficult for my Duifang so that I'm able to follow it up and go in. So those are our 3 tips. Work on them step by step because that first one is essential. If we don't have that building block of making sure that you're deflecting completely and properly, that you're really deflecting instead of just pushing the Duifang's weapon side to side, you really can't build to these others. So get that down, then get your Jie Jing, then start taking aim. If you want to level up your swordplay, come to a retreat. Thanks, Johnny. Thank you, everybody. Stay strong. 再见.